with Olympus, and I'm super excited to just kind of explore what marketing trends you guys are experiencing or like planning for, and kind of grab some hot takes and like what your first op tech's like. So kick it off. Like, tell me where you came from.
Hi, you guys. I'm Chandler Chesnut. I'm our brand marketing manager for Olympus Property. I've been with Olympus since 2022, actually March of 2022, so coming up on 3 years. So super exciting milestone for me. Started out on the operations side, worked as a business manager on site with Olympus in one of our most competitive lease ups. Did that for about a year and a half, and then came back to Olympus in April of this year, and then moved over to marketing in August. So I now work under Sarah Jane Corella and her team, and it's a mighty five is what I call us.
I love it.
But yeah, the operations side was, I think, a wonderful foundation for me, especially moving into the marketing role, just because hiring, of course, outside the company is always wonderful, but hiring on the inside and promoting within, I think, is something Olympus is really profound about, and they strive to continue to do each time that there is a role that is presented. Because you know the Olympus way, you know the Olympus culture, you drink the Kool-Aid already, you're a part of the group, and so it's nice, especially in my perspective, coming into the marketing role, being able to know the ins and outs of Olympus and being able to know what works and what doesn't work on the operations side of things.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that also shapes a lot of your recommendations and your rollouts too.
Right.
Like, I know what the leasing team is currently struggling with, and
Right.
so I'm not going to throw a brand new X on.
Right.
So I think that, like, in terms of that process and understanding all of that, has there been some products that you're like, oh, we're not going to roll that out today? Because of how like you have like thought through the leasing process, or
Right.
are there things where you're like, this is something that we need to have in place right away? Like,
So I think on the operations side, and something that I was really empowered about with Sarah is trying to still continue to have the customer experience and the one-on-one relationship with like our leasing teams, our business managers, our assistant managers, because they're the face of our company. They represent our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones who are out there on the ground going and being an advocate for us as Olympus within our communities. And something that we're currently trying to figure out right now is the role of AI and how that implements into kind of rolling into 2025. And I think that is a trend that it's either you get on board or you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
So trying to find a healthy balance between the two has been a real like challenge for us, just because we are utilizing AI for first interactions with prospects when they're looking to live in an Olympus property. And then we go forwards, and he reaches out, his name is Ollie, and he reaches out and sets tours for us. He sends follow-ups. He makes sure that everyone knows directions to the communities. But then once they get to the on-site teams and the prospects are physically there to tour, from there that AI takes a step back, and then our leasing teams, our assistant managers and business managers then take over and provide that Olympus culture for the prospects, and then they sign a lease, because why wouldn't you want to? It's Olympus.
exactly. Talk to me a little bit about the AI. Like,
Yeah.
Are you able to share like who is it powered by? Like what?
Yeah,
what
right now we're using Elise AI, and their team has been really wonderful in assisting us and kind of giving us the foundation to customize what we want and how we want things, whether it's 4 follow-ups, whether it's 3 follow-ups. We have full customization, which is really awesome. Shout out to them. So we do utilize them as of right now only for the first-hand interaction, whenever people like go on our website, kind of are interested in our communities. And then from there, we are potentially looking at rolling out like outbound calls with Elise AI and having our overall communities being able to use that feature. It is something that I think is, again, you have to fine tune, because when people call, the last thing you want to hear is a robot speaking to you on a day-to-day. However, I think it does streamline the process and gives us more intel of, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, I'm looking in the Tucson area, I want to be in the Phoenix area, or whatever it is that they're looking for. And it gives us more time to be able to really build that foundation for them, and then be able to, home run, sell it out whenever they come into the office.
That's awesome. And it seems like you guys have really prioritized like what that handoff looks like.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? Like,
Sure.
Instead of it just being like, yeah, let me transfer you to an agent. Like, what does that handoff look like? Is it at when they schedule a tour? Is it when they have, like, obviously if there's a question that can't be answered by the AI, it's obviously handed off.
Right.
But what does that look like to help make it more seamless and less friction?
Right. Something for sure that happens whenever the handoff is switched over from Ollie to our leasing teams or whoever it is at the time of the physical tour, when they come in to physically tour. Of course, if there's something that Ollie doesn't know, whenever, he's asked a question, let's say it's the pool hours, or let's say it's the how much a community clubhouse is to rent. He's then going to transfer that over to the leasing agent or the assistant manager or business manager, and they will then take over from there. However, on a standard prospect that's coming in, they just want to come in, see a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, whatever it is. Ollie then sets the tours. He sends follow-ups. He sends reminders. Hey, just checking in 2 days till your tour. We're so excited to see you at XYZ property. And it's been a wonderful utilization because we've seen that over 50% of consumers are booking tours from the hours of 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. And that's something that is profound for Olympus because we do not want to miss out on the clientele that are actively pursuing leasing an apartment with us. And outside of that 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. time, I mean, our leasing agents are off being human beings. We all have lives. And so something that we're really, really advocate for is having that process and being able to immediately respond to consumers whenever they are actively looking and pursuing an apartment.
So really meeting them where they're
Oh my gosh, immediately. Because we all are based on instant gratification. It's an instant gratification society, and especially with the up and coming generation. I know my sister is in that generation, so I'm like, I fully understand how it is. And so I think that having that experience and utilizing AI in a way that benefits your teams and also takes off the load of having to send out follow-ups after their tours. They, it sends the automatic email, and then from there you're ready to go. And it gives our teams more power within their communities to be able to focus on resident interactions and building community and setting standards the Olympus way. So it's been a wonderful asset for us, and we're excited to see going to 2025 what we're going to roll out. So
I love that. Yeah. So on 2025, what are some trends that you guys are, one, excited about and putting some focus into, and then what's a couple that you're like, I hope it doesn't go that way?
So I think one thing that we're really big on going into 2025 is harnessing our social media content towards the new and upcoming consumer. Again, because the overall generation right now is not focused on being pushed products. They don't want to be sold a product. They want to see the overall lifestyle and then be influenced in order to go in and be a part of that community and part of that lifestyle. And so something I think trend-wise going into 2025 is kind of creating content and creating overall experiences for people to see what the apartment community is like, whether that's featuring, resident events, or whether that's featuring a local area that we do a, resident event collab with, or whatever it is. Utilizing that type of marketing, honest marketing that gives you an overall experience rather than just, oh, this is our 1-bedroom, this is what's being sold. So I think this overall mindset is what a lot of management companies are starting to see, because it's this new generation is not big on being sold. They want to see the overall experience. They don't want to be pushed a product down their throats. They'll just swipe to the next thing and keep going. So it's something that we're harnessing and really focusing on going into 2025 is creating organic content that's upbeat, that utilizes whether if it's a resident who's providing us their perspective or whatever it is. We are really empowered and are trying to empower our teams to get involved and create those experiences, and instead of having advertisements that are never going to produce leases. So something that we're really focused on.
That's awesome. What platforms are you thinking are going to be the primary drivers for this?
Right. Instagram, of course, is a big one. TikTok obviously is new and upcoming. I feel like everyone got into it around COVID because everyone was stuck at home. And now we're we have to be bigger and have our brand as a major presence on TikTok. We want people to be, nowadays I think ages 18 to 24, they're going to TikTok first to research things instead of going to Google. Whereas my generation, it's we went to Google to research everything. Yeah. And so it's now they're going to TikTok to know how to cook this chicken or how to make this, aspect in their house, how to make everything look nice. So we're really trying to utilize TikTok going forward and creating overall experiences through our social media platforms. Of course, we're still big on Facebook and still big on X or Twitter. Yeah. However, we are really trying in 2025 to jump on the TikTok bandwagon and drink the Kool-Aid and get involved, because we want our consumers to be able to see us from an organic perspective, because the content that we're putting out on Facebook and Instagram that is perfectly polished and precise is not the type of content that our engaging consumers want to see on the TikTok platform.
So more day in the life.
Day in the life, yes. I want to see, the cute little taco shop that's right around the corner that you want to go eat at whenever you move into the community, or I want to go to this ice cream shop that's right around the corner, and I want to see the leasing teams getting involved and taking us to like a resident event outside of the community. So creating those experiences that engage our networks and engage our communities, I think, is pivotal going forward.
That's super cool. Talk to me a little bit about that process then, in terms of, is it the leasing agents creating that content primarily? Is there a team within your marketing team at Olympus? And then is it more brand specific, or is it more management company specific? So is it the Olympus brand that you're promoting through a singular channel, or are you trying to create isolated brands with each of the properties?
So something that I'm really big on, and that I have worked with Sarah kind of going forward in 2025, is creating content that of course is Olympus based and has all of our Olympus bread and butter like materials in. However, kind of fine tuning it to be property specific, because of course what you put out for a property in Oregon is not going to be the same thing you put out a property in DFW. I mean, we look totally different, you know. So you have mountains, and then you have, you know, highways in Texas. So you have to be creative with the content that you're putting out. And something that I'm really big on is, I think a lot of our on-site teams do want to be involved in the marketing process. And they do want to be involved in the overall experience, because they're the ones who again are on the ground, being able to see what is working day in and day out. And if someone, you know, 2 apartments over is offering this type of event or this type of special or whatever it is, they're the ones who are going to know the most research.
Totally.
And they're the ones who are going to provide us with intel that's going to work creatively. So going forward in 2025, my mission is to empower our on-site teams to get involved, create fun content. Of course, we'll give them guidelines of formatting, and if we want it horizontal, vertical, whatever it is. However, we will give them the power to create fun, you know, avenues and fun opportunities, and then we can then post it on our corporate social media, on our TikTok, and utilize that. So we'll do like a monthly masterpiece property, and we'll focus on one individual community and then bounce around. And in my head, you know, marketing is all, you know, revenue based. We want to make sure that we're producing leases, we're getting leads, we're occupying our communities. And so probably starting out with properties that really need extra attention, which is fine. We want to utilize that aspect of it and utilize our teams starting there, and then see how the growth is depending upon the network and the like community that they're involved in. So
that's super cool. I think having that ROI tied to it and being able to like justify the effort going in takes it from like that's a fun pet project to like,
it's actually producing leads.
This is a strategy behind it. That's smart.
And so we're even, you know, creatively thinking like maybe we offer, you know, like a waived app and admin if they come in and show our TikTok, or if they repost something, or if they take like a video of our community while they're taking the tour, whatever it is, some type of fun, you know, content creation. I think while it's fun and while it's, you know, engaging, I think it also expands the brand. It expands the Olympus culture. It shows people, oh my gosh, when I think of apartments, I want to live at an Olympus property. And so I think that going forward, we are going to kind of dive into that world and really experience it. And I think it's something fun and upcoming, and I think our teams are going to be incredible at it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to jump into, all right, I'm going to end on hot takes, but before we do, this is your first OpTech.
Yes.
What has it been like? Is it fire hose for you? Has there been a couple sessions that you're like, I wish I had my 30 minutes back, but then there's a session that's like, this is the holy grail of sessions so far?
I'm excited today because it is my first full OpTech day. So I know I'm going to be popping into a couple sessions this afternoon. I really am fine-tuning my schedule. However, I feel like jumping into the first OpTech experience has been like opening a fire hose, you know, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many people, there's so many new avenues I get to experience. There's all these events you need to attend. There's so many opportunities for networking. I think that is pivotal in the multifamily world, is getting to experience and fine-tune what are you doing that's benefiting you and what's benefiting us, and how can we agree on the same platform, whatever it is. So something that I really am big on is people and just communications within different organizations, and something that I think needs more attention. And so I'm really excited to get to run around and meet people and engage and pop into all of our vendors and get to experience new people within our vendor side that I have not been able to meet. So for instance, I went over and popped into the Elise AI team, met a couple people that I had never met before, and it was wonderful because had I not had been at OpTech, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So I think OpTech provides a lot of opportunity for people to be able to network in a different way than they would on the day-to-day, because emails, you're not going to get the same type of communication that you would in person.
Love it. So hot takes then, and we're going to start. Who's one vendor that you guys aren't currently working with that you're most excited to meet here at OpTech?
Okay.
And then what is your hot take on the industry as today? Like, what's something that might be a little controversial, might be a little edgy, that you're like, this is the hill I'm dying on?
In terms of vendors that were kind of up and coming, I can't reveal anything too close yet, but stay tuned. Olympus is very big on innovation and very big on creativity, and we want to stay ahead of the trends and be on brand with overall avenues and platforms. So we want to be really innovative with that. However, kind of a hot take that I would say is a lot of advertising sources that were previously used in, let's say, the early 2000s. They're not going to work going forward. The generation, again, my sister is one. I ask her questions all the time about her in college and kind of what she's looking for whenever she goes online and searches something. And I think going forward, these sources for advertisements, I mean, if you're not innovative, within 3 seconds, this new generation is swiping through and continuing on. And if we're not catching them with a hook right off the bat, we're going to miss out on half of our clientele that is looking for apartments, especially with, of course, the economy the way it is right now. It's like we are more than ever trying to produce leads and trying to produce new, of course, community involvement within each Olympus property. And I think that something we have to be mindful of is this new generation upcoming, and that some advertising sources are not going to work going forward, and that's okay. We just have to fine tune them, and we have wonderful partnerships, but I think fine tuning them and having people within those organizations that are creative and have the willpower to fine tune their current platforms is going to be wonderful going forward.
That's awesome. Okay, so if somebody wants to connect with you, find you, follow you, where's the best place to do that? How do they get in touch with you? And
So going forward, if you want to get in touch with me, would love to connect on LinkedIn. My, of course, LinkedIn name is just my first and last name. I have my Olympus property email on there, so I definitely recommend people reaching out. Again, our marketing team is a mighty team of 5. I call us the Fab 5. So we are all kind of spaced out across the country. Myself and Sarah in the DFW area, Bobby and Kaylee in our Newport office, and then Jess, she holds it down in us for Arizona because it's a very booming market. So I think going forward, if you want to connect with Olympus, I think reaching out to our marketing team would be a wonderful first step. And then also reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect. I'd love to get to know more people. I'm a people person, so happy to reach out.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thanks
This
for
was an
having
awesome
me.
conversation.
Yes, so exciting.